Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly for pricing, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we are discussing the Breitling Montbrillant Datora. It is closely related to the Navitimer family, the Montbrillant often the posh Navitimer, and named after the Rue Montbrillant, on which Breitling was located during its days in La Chaux-de-Fonds. The company is today in Grenchen. Now, the watch is 43 millimeters in diameter and stainless steel, 14.1 millimeters thick, 51.1 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, 22 millimeters is the distance between the lugs. The watch fits well on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, though I would not recommend wearing it on a wrist of smaller than 15 centimeters circumference. This is a watch that wears easily on a 16. As you can see, the further I get from the camera, the better it looks. It looks a little bit crammed onto my wrist when I'm close to the lens, but the further away I am, the more natural it looks. Now you can see across the wrist, down the barrel, this is a good fit. It's not overlapping. And from the top, you can see it's pushing out towards the edge, but it's not quite there, not yet. That's why I say a 15 centimeter circumference wrist is the lower limit. It's thick enough that it's not appropriate for a super tight dress cuff, but you shouldn't be wearing your shirts that tight anyway. It'll fit easily underneath a jacket cuff. Taking a quick look at the bracelet, it's a 7-link design, so while it appears similar to the Pilot bracelet, that's a 5-link. This is 7. This is the Navitimer bracelet. All polished links on their tops and their sides. You can see there's a little bit of a taper down from the integrated end link of the bracelet. Plenty of gaps on the underside to vent the wrist on a hot day and avoid pinching skin or pulling hair. Removable links, you can see, are fixed by screws and bars, so those are quite secure. We have a single fold deployant clasp with a clamshell lock to keep it secure. And then inside the clasp, you can see that there are a few different drillings, and the anchoring point of the bracelet can be changed with a strap tool, so you can fine-tune the fit there. The case is very much that of the Navitimer. The Navitimer's always had a narrow mid-case, and you can see that the case back is stepped back somewhat, so the watch nestles down and looks thinner than it is when it's on the wrist. A little adjuster for the calendar right there. That's for adjusting your day. We also have the squared off ends that are characteristic of the Navitimer cases, a little bit of a transitional bevel on the sides of the lugs, and then we have a push-down crown with the Breitling B logo, 30 meters water resistant and vintage style pump pushers, and all of this is in high polish with the exception of the recesses inside the bezel. You can see the outer faces are polished, the recesses are matte finished, and then the bezel is actually sunken down below, slightly below the plane of the top of the lugs, so that you can have these large flowing lugs, but the watch isn't excessively thick because the bezel's sunken down at the mid-case below the hoods of the lugs. Sapphire crystal, of course, cambered with a little bit of a domed profile. And then we have several rings running concentrically with alternating silver and black, and it's a very attractive look. Again, the Montbrillant is basically a Navitimer that's a bit upscale. And you can see we have the logarithmic scale circular slide rule, and I'll show you real quick how that works. You have calibrations here to allow you to calculate mostly multiplication and division, and then you have units that will help you work to calculate ground speed, airspeed, rate of climb, drift, fuel consumption. It's a flight calculator, and it was introduced as such in the 1950s on the first Navitimers, though the chronomat had a simplified circular slide rule back in the 1940s. So the way this works, and I'll show you real quick, is let's say I want to divide 60 by 30, or 6 by 3. I'm going to put this together just like a fraction with 60 over 30. So I'm going to divide 60 by 30. You got to remember, keep your decimal in mind. And then I'm going to go over to the index at 10. You can see 10 on the inner scale, and I can see just above that, I could see 2. Now let's say I were dividing 60 by 3, I would read that as 20. Remember, you have to keep your decimals mentally clear because it will not give you that distinction. It'll do the calculation for you, but if you're careless, you could still make an error. Now I'm going to multiply. What I do now is I put 60 over the index, and I go find on the inner scale the number that I'm using to multiply 60. So I'm going to multiply 60, or I'm just going to multiply, in this case, 60 by 3. We'll do a trick with the decimal. Now you can see there's 3.0, and above that you can see 180, 18. Again, remember, you have to keep the decimals in mind, but it's a very handy and quick reference. Okay, lots going on here, things that you don't find on a standard Navitimer. Aside from that lovely alternating set of concentric silver and black rings, we've got 3 sub-registers, each with a polished chapter ring. We have some alpha-style hands at center. We have a lunette-style date indicator, and you can see that inner silver register is where you read your date. We have a triple calendar, day, date, and month. And I'm going to do a quick loom shot here. You can see the watch is fairly well loomed. I also have a 24-hour sub-register that is coaxial with the constant seconds. That's not a second time zone. What that is a 24-hour indicator, so I know whether, for example, I'm looking at 6 in the evening or 6 a.m. And you can see right here, because it's pointed at 18, I'm looking at 6 in the evening. I don't want to set the calendar using the quick sets during the evening. Just rule out any quick setting between 8 p.m. and 3 a.m. just to be safe. Now the watch does include hacking or stop seconds. It's based on a Valjoux 7750 platform. And of course it features a quick set mechanism, and I'll show you what I mean by quick setting. There is an adjuster that allows me to quickly jump the date, and you can see that the month changes with the date. Now the other thing that you don't want to use during the nighttime danger zone is the pusher adjuster, which jumps the day. Turn it all over, you can see that we actually have a quick reference if you want to mentally calculate the time in any of these reference cities. There's a little numerical reference, GMT plus or minus. And then of course we have this lovely Datora Montbrillant logo. It is a chronograph, it is a chronometer, it is COSC certified. You can see A, which means this is a steel Breitling, and 2-1. And caliber 21 is the name in Breitling speak of the movement inside. So it's based on the Valjoux 7750, unidirectional automatic winding, 42-hour power reserve. It has stop seconds, it has a quick set mechanism, it has the triple calendar, it has the 24-hour AM PM indicator, 5 position adjusted COSC chronometer, 4 hertz beat rate, and it is a cam style chronograph with a lateral clutch. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.